What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another live stream from BassQuest. Today we're doing this out on the water. I was planning on actually being home a lot sooner today so I could do this live stream with you guys, but Cole and I will take a peek at Cole. He's still up here wrecking some fish. We were catching them too good to leave. We've got, what do we got, Cole? 25, 26 pounds?
26 pounds probably.
Got one fish over 8, one fish in the 7-pound range. You guys are going to see some really cool footage on that, but we're out here deep fishing some ledges, so we're going to start doing some videos on the old ledge fishing and then just messing around, seeing what we can see there. See if anybody wants to message in the live chat, see if I can actually see that. I've never done this from my phone before, so let's see what we got here. Send some messages in there. But anyway, what we're doing, we're out here on the Chickamauga here, and they're not pulling any current right now. And so what happened, it looks a little bit slick right now, but when we were really catching these fish was in the afternoon, and there was enough wind. There was actually at one point, there was some 3 and 4 foot waves out here, and we were able to get on these fish and using the wind as the currents. In other words, the wind was causing these fish to group up just like they're supposed to on these ledges. We got out here and put the hammer down on them pretty good. Just the standard ledge fishing stuff, you know, big crankbaits and big worms and jigs and everything in between. Still looking. We need I think our smallest fish right now is what, a 3.5 maybe?
Yeah, we got 3.5, and then 2 big ones.
So if we could cull one of these 3.5s, we need ourselves another 6-pounder, 8-pounder, get rid of some of these 3s. We could be pushing that 30 pounds in a minute. Tim Evans asked, what kind of depth range are we targeting right now in the transition? Well, you know, we fished a whole lot of stuff today. We fished real shallow. We caught a couple of our good fish in, you know, 6-7 foot of water. Caught some fish that are in the 12 foot of water range, and we've caught fish way out in, you know, typical summertime ledge fishing, 20+ foot of water as well. So it seems like they're pretty much everywhere right now. It looks like most of the spawning activity is pretty much put on hold at the moment. Not seeing as much shad spawn activity right now or bluegill spawn activity, although I'm sure there is some upriver, but a lot of it's just these shad are pushing back out, getting on these ledges and getting on these intermediate points and secondary points and stuff in the creeks, and that seems to be where a lot of the fish are doing their deal. Any more questions on there, feel free to hit me with them. Look at that. Beautiful out here. Cole needs to go ahead and catch me one real quick. We were catching them pretty regular. We left for a second. Somebody kind of jumped on our hole over there. We had to go see if the grass was greener on the other side of the fence. It wasn't quite. Catch me a 10-pounder, Cole. 12-pounder like we talked about earlier. We're in a good spot right now, so I'd say Cole's gonna grace us with a fish catch pretty soon here. But y'all stick with us here. Any more questions, we can talk a little bit more about this transition, but basically what those fish do, you know, a lot of fish push back into backwaters, they push onto the flats, they push into the backs of the creeks to do their spawning deal, and then a lot of them stay there, you know, like a lot of people will tell you they split. You know, a lot of fish stay in the backs there and a lot of fish move out deep, and so well, we're keying in on some of these earlier fish that are moving out deep. Heath asked how tight the schools are right now. A lot of them are kind of spread thin right now because, again, we don't have the current really. And what I'm seeing also is the fish are up and down in the water column as well. They're not glued down to the bottom, but there is enough current to at least position them. So they're grouped up enough that we can really key in on it. We've had several doubles now, Cole. What do you think? Six doubles probably. So they're grouped up tight enough for us to do that. Cole had 2 on at one time earlier as well, so that was pretty neat. Oh, Cole scared me there. I thought he had a big, and he has a big old log or something down there.
I had a bottom of the side of it.
Hit me some more questions down there, Heath Jordan. What you got, buddy? Bill Knowles as my favorite deep cranking stick, line and reel. So what I like, my favorite, and I've switched this up a little bit. My actual favorite is my Lew's BB1 5-to-1, but I've still got heavier line on that dude. So my favorite rod, this is this Mark Rose mag cranking stick. It's a 711 mag cranking rod. I can really launch. It's nice because it fishes down those little 6XDs and stuff like that, but I can also launch. I'm fishing 8XD right now. Launch that sucker way out there, and 10XDs and things like that. Fishing that on 12-pound line because some of those fish are a little bit deeper than others, so I'm trying to get down there as far as possible. I use that K9 original fluoro, so it's not a true fluorocarbon. It's a fluorocarbon with a little bit of nylon added, but it's pretty much as clear. It also sinks, so that's a good thing that a lot of copolymer type lines do not do. But it's thin diameter, it's really strong stuff, and it's got some more stretch to it. So I really like when I have treble hook baits to have a little bit more stretch, so I don't have any issues with a fish, breaking me off when they make these really tough runs at the boat. Right now I've got that Team Light on there. It's a 6-gear ratio reel. That's working pretty good, but again, that BB1 with that bigger spool, if I had that on here right now with that 12 to 14-pound line, I could really bomb this thing into next week. Still casting, we're making 55, 60 casts and stuff right now, but I feel like that BB1, a little wider spool, I can get out there further. More questions here. Some of these you'll have to probably re-ask me because the chat's popping up and popping back there. Heath asked if I was a long line and crankbait, what setup would I use? Is the exact same setup that I've just talked with you about. What's what we've been doing, a lot of long lining. We've been doing a lot of casting and cranking, kneel and reel type stuff. That same setup is what I really like. What do you like, Cole?
I like the Wichita makes a 17 Kahuna, and throwing a 10XD, I like the extra heavy. If I'm throwing a 6XD, I like the medium heavy or heavy. The key is having a longer rod and a reel that can hold a lot of line. I mean, that's the main thing.
And I will say these Witch Doctor rods down here are absolutely sweet. You can see he's got a 10XD rod here, and he's got the 6XD rod somewhere. I don't know where that thing went. Oh, there it is right there. Really cool though, if you'll notice, they've got the eyes turned on this thing for cranking, and it's just really neat. He gets some bomb cast out there.
And those are glass too, and I mean that's a big thing crankbait fishing is making sure you got a rod that's linear enough that fish won't go hook.
But it's not 100% glass though, is it?
No, those are.
Oh, they are.
They're just extremely powerful for a glass rod.
Yeah, you can see they've got some wrapping on there. They've taped them.
Yeah, it's gonna X-wrap.
Yeah, that X-wrap on there. That is really a key thing, because I cannot stand a true glass rod, an actual noodle, knock you in the back of the head with a 5XD style rod. Those rods that he's got, there's enough body to them. They're not super thick down at the end. I really like those blanks that they use on there. I personally like a rod that's got some graphite in it for all my cranking, whether it's mid-range cranking, small body cranking, or big deep diving plugs like we use in the summertime here. Also caught a nice fish on that Magnum, or that big sexy dog today too, which was awesome. BB1 question, what is it? Jeff Jackson asked a good question there. He said, are we sitting up on the ledges or are we throwing onto them? We're doing both. A lot of times we're doing that long line and we're going back and forth. We're changing angles up on the fish, and that's what keeps those fish firing, keeps them going, so that we're able to get multiple bites on there. Give me some more questions, my boys. Catch me a fish, Cole.
Let's go to where a fish lives.
More questions, guys. Ask him.
We'll idle up.
We're gonna idle just for a second here.
There's a couple fish down there.
Get up to the juice hole again. See if I can block that sun a little bit. There we go. Hey. More questions, guys. Ask away. I know you guys, I saw some more on there. These questions are disappearing on me because of the way they run this app here. So if you keep asking, I'll be able to kind of go down the line and answer as many of them as I can. We're going to idle up to where these fish are really stacked now. So hopefully Cole can keep us going with some fish catches as well. Maybe I'll have to get in the net. If he can go ahead and catch us some of them big ones, We might break 30 pounds today, guys. We got our good solid base right now. We really just need 1 or 2 more big ones.
They're freaking there. I don't know why we didn't win.
You asked if I changed the stock configuration on the brakes. I do not. I go in there on the pins. I believe there's 2 off-colored pins. I go in there and I keep those 2 on. I leave all the other ones off. I like a really free spinning reel on my BB1.
You want to show them what school fish looks like?
Hey, yeah, that's a good point. Let's look. Cole's gonna show us here. I'll let you grab it. Maybe you guys can see that.
So yeah. So here we go. Here's a steep ledge, a couple stumps right there on that break. If they're pulling current, a lot of them will be sitting right here on top, and that's why they're hard to catch. When they're right there, they're easy to catch. Hopefully y'all can see that, but right now there's a bunch right there on that drop. I mean, all the way out to 23, 30 foot of water. But those, we should have caught some. For some reason they didn't bite. They've probably just been beat on a little bit today, but we're gonna go over here to another spot and try to get a couple of fish.
Try to get on them again. That's really a good point. We'll probably do some videos this summer real soon on just understanding what fish look like on a graph, what you're looking for as far as how they set up, what you need to see on the graph before you really want to start fishing. One second. Somebody asked what are the top shallow baits for this transition here. One of them we talked about in that last video. We actually caught some more big fish on that today, and that's that really lightweight Texas rig. We've got a lot of emergent grass coming up. It's coming up into, it's maybe a foot to a foot and a half long, and these fish will bury down in it when the sun gets up during the middle of the day. So what we were doing is using that really light Texas rig. I actually put a peg on both sides of mine so I could peg it down there, and I could also run it up as like a lightweight Carolina rig or Mojo rig, and caught a couple of nice fish on that today. Cole caught some nice fish on a lightweight Texas rig as well. So that's one of my favorite ones. I like big topwaters, like I just said. I caught a couple of fish on this mega sexy dog right here. I really like that, a topwater bait. I like a moving baits, a swim jig. A chatterbait's really good. If you get some breeze out there and the fish are really on shad, spinnerbait can be awesome as well. But I like topwaters. Buzz bait, frog is awesome for this transition as well. It gives that fish a little something different. I like to fish them, open water as well. So that's some of my favorite ones. Oh, a jig. We're not going to discount the jig. You can use it casting, hopping that thing, moving it through the grass. You can swim it, and you can flip, of course, as well. Any more questions, hit me up. Yeah, to confirm, I do go in there. It was funny because the stock one that I had, I've got a few of them, and sometimes they have more brakes on, sometimes they have more brakes off. I keep 2 brakes on, and the 2 opposite ones that are miscolored, it's the 2 that I keep on. Somebody asked if I throw glide baits in the summer. I do throw glide baits in the summer. I throw them a lot in, backwater areas. Anytime those fish are shallow, around cover, if they're getting around laydowns and stuff where you can flip for them, throwing those glide baits can be fantastic for doing that. So that's one thing that I do. Hello from Minnesota. What's up? Yeah, as far O'Keefe there, yes, those areas where you have, there's actually one right over here. Saudi Creek comes out and it creates where Saudi Creek meets the main river ledge. Anytime you've got a main creek or a secondary channel that meets the main channel, those are typically community holes because they're really easy to find in the fish. It's a major current break, major eddy, and the fish can easily set up and they're super easy to target there, and a lot of times there's mega schools, really big schools of fish. How far will fish move with the current conditions, say 30 versus 13K? So what he's talking about there is the gallons per second that they're running out of the dam. So the more current you have, you know, 30,000, 50,000, 60,000, what that typically will do is it'll either suck those fish down to the bottom and or it'll push them further up onto the ledge into shallower water. So what you have when you have low current like we have right now is the fish can comfortably move out and about, so they can suspend off the ledge, they can be up on the ledge, and they can get super deep as well. And the reason why they do that is because there's a smaller, or I should say a larger window that this bait fish can run, and so they have to get out there and kind of hunt down the bait more instead of the bait coming to them. What else we got, guys? Get him, Cole, get him. Throw that spoon in there on him. Yeah, Cole's about to get us one. Our lineup's a little bit messed up from before. We got some guys, we're trying not to get too close and mess them up, but juice hole is not available at the second. Oh, I love fishing a big spoon. And a lot of times I fish a medium spoon as well. You know, the Lake Fork spoons from Nichols in that 6 to 8 inch range. I think they're, yeah, 5 and 6 inch range. Those are both awesome. Caught a lot of fish on those last year. Caught a lot of fish on the, let's see here, the 8 inch version. I haven't thrown the 10 as much. I've got several of them, but it's not as much of a confidence bait for me. But yeah, Nichols spoons out here on the Tennessee River, guys, they catch the fish. And the reason why I was telling him, and he knows, he was just about to pick it up, but a lot of times you get these fish, you know, we've gone, so now we've come back, we've got to refire the school. There's probably 200 fish sitting down there, but you still have to get them going enough to where they're eating again. So he's going to throw out there and see if he can refire the school for us there. I appreciate that. That was a super fun video to shoot with Gene. I've got to fish with him quite a few times. So you'll see some more videos coming down the pipe. Hopefully he'll get out here again with me and we can hit some of those ledges, look at the grass and stuff like that. He likes to do a lot of the same content that I like to do as far as the teaching stuff and things. Oh yeah, Terry asked me if I do any night fishing. I absolutely love to go night fishing. Now some of the things that I do, you know, first of all, you got to make sure your lights, you got to make sure all your safety equipment, everything has to be going really well, running really well if you're going to go out and fish at night. You need some good electronics so you can run. I like to have a spotlight on me so I can keep from hitting floating debris and stuff like that, because it does happen out here and you're not going to get as much help when you're out here at night. So that's something really important. But as far as the actual baits I like to use, a lot of times for moving baits, so topwater is of course a factor there. Big whopper, plopper, buzz bait, big frog, something that makes a lot of noise for topwater. Then moving down into water column, I love a nighttime spinnerbait. Big Colorado blade. Sometimes I go with like an Indiana blade, or double willow blade even. It depends on what kind of bait the fish are on. And it's funny because, you know, a lot of guys say you use black, and I love using black. I like to also have some purple in there, some blue, and I really like using white and chartreuse at night. But I throw swim baits as well, like a, you know, hollow body swim bait at nighttime. But moving down to the bottom to really catch a lot of those big fish. I catch a lot of big fish at night on a big jig with a big trailer. When I say big trailer, I'm talking like a full-size missile baits destroyer, you know, big creature bait as a trailer, something that's going to move a lot of water. Big Texas rig worm, 12-inch worms, 14-inch worms. Again, you know, black color or really vibrant color seem to be really good for that. Chatterbait's really good at night too. Any other questions, boys? Oh, Cole's got the spoon. Look out now. It's go time. Yeah, Ben did an awesome video. He caught a nice fish on a glide bait up here. Absolute giant. Rebecca says she's selling my trailer. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's Alex's trailer. Let's see what else we got here. Oh. Cole over here. Look at him working that spoon. letting that thing flutter down. Fishing that thing on a semi-slack line is super important. Yep, turn camera on, Cole. I'm working on it, I'm working on it. Working that spoon, working that spoon. Should get bit any second now. Kentucky Lake. What would you say on Kentucky Lake right now, Cole?
It's a good place to catch carp.
He said it's a good place to catch carp. You know, there should be a whole lot of things going on Kentucky Lake, just like there are here. We haven't had as much rain, so I'm not really sure how that'll affect the shallow bite, but I know the water levels have been really stable on all these lakes, so you should be able to get on a shallow bite, you know, flipping trees and stuff like that, like a lot of guys do. But don't be afraid to go out deep as well. So get out there, fish these ledges, and get deeper on the ledges, you know, get out here and throw these big plugs around. What I would tell you though is to get out there and spend, if you're gonna spend multiple days there, spend a few days idling. Get out here and idle as many schools as you can find. Get 20 or 30 schools. Uh-oh, we're on. It's hard to film on these little, there we go.
I don't fit it real on a day.
See, that's Chickamauga, guys. You only catch 10 pounders over here. 10 pounders only. Got fish busting out here too. Sweet. How far did he cast the spoon out? Making a pretty decently long cast. You know, you want to get that thing down there, and the school is spread out across this ledge, so he's able to cover water. A lot of times I'll make a short, very accurate cast though when I'm ledge fishing with a spoon, just so that I can keep it right in the strike zone where those fish are. It's a drop type bait. Look how beautiful that sunset is, guys. Check that out. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Let's get us another one, Cole. More questions, my boys, more questions. Becca, don't sell my trailer, by the way. All right, Heath asked, what kind of weight would I use for my swim baits? Now, a lot of times when I'm ledge fishing like this, you know, this time of year, a 1/2 ounce is tied on pretty much all the time because I find a lot of fish are in that 8 to 12 foot range still. But a lot of times, you know, right now, what do you have on your hollow body swim bait right now, Cole? 1 ounce, you know, 3/4 ounce, 1 ounce, something that's gonna get down there, and you wanna get glued to the bottom, especially when we get more current. You know, a lot of times we have more current, so you want something that's gonna glue down to that bottom and stay down there for you. Do I fish lakes in Georgia? Not really, to be honest with you. I haven't made it down there. I fished on Near a few times and caught some nice spotted bass on it, but I've got a lot of lakes up here that have big spotted bass too, so I don't really have a need to go down there. I want to get down to Georgia though and catch some shoal bass. I think that'd be fun. I've never tried a crawdad crankbait at night. That's a good point though. You talking like a red or methylate orange, or are you talking about like a straight up brown style crawdad bait? Or crankbait, I should say. That's pretty interesting. Oh, somebody said you ain't no good, Cole, but he's got another one, guys. He's on. What do we got here? Oh, it's heavy. It's heavy.
If it is, it's hard.
If it's a bass, I might have to put y'all down to get in the net. Let's put it that way.
Snagged, I think, whatever.
My boss just texted me. I let him and his son, Will, borrow a couple rods from me, and they said that they're slaying right now in a local pond as well, so that's awesome. It seems like the fish are biting tonight. Looks like Cole is going to be indisposed for a minute, folks. I'm going to take this here net, and I'm going to slide it up here FLW Pro style for my buddy Cole. We're just going to sit back and enjoy the show.
Friend, I think we got a kitty.
We got whisker fish. I said you could catch a 12 pounder now, but I don't know if that's a 12 pounder we're after here. Walleye, cool. This is the second big walleye that Cole has caught here. Might have to get the grease out here. Oh man, Cole, that's a big one.
A little bit better one.
That's a big sauger.
It's a shame to throw this thing back.
It is a shame to throw. Look at the size of that, boys. Look at that jewel.
Let's go.
Ooh. Oh, come on.
Good, we didn't catch bass.
Nice, nice, nice. So what have we caught now? We've caught,
That's the second walleye.
that's the second walleye. We've caught a catfish. Woo, that spoon was close to my face right there. Eater, no kidding. How do I feel about using a jerkbait on the shallow flats this time of year? A jerkbait for me, like I use a rip bait if I'm around some shallow schooling fish. That works pretty good. But the jerkbait really starts playing again for me when we get that mayfly hatch. That's going to be coming up actually pretty soon. Here in about 3 weeks or so, we're probably going to get our first mayfly hatch. And when that happens, the fun gets a going, son. I love catching them that way.
Blowing up.
Yes, we drop shot all the time on Chickamauga. It's a great way to catch fish. It's a great way to catch finicky fish. But when you can catch them another way, you know, I prefer to do that. It's such a pain in the neck to untangle that drop shot every time. Rebecca's trying to sell my trailer here. Alex is going to be so sad when that trailer's gone. Any more questions, folks? Any more questions? I'm probably going to go about to the 30-minute mark, and I'm going to cut it off. So if y'all got any more questions, now it's time to ask them. I got to get back out there and catch some fish. All right, a rip bait and a jerk bait. A rip bait is typically a bait. A lot of times it's a floating bait as well, but it's something that cuts a lot side to side. It doesn't sit there and suspend, doesn't have a very, it's a more erratic action. So, you know, the rip stop from, what is that? Rapala rip stop, that's a type of rip bait. There's a whole lot of them out there that you can use as a rip bait as well. You know, something that cuts really hard side to side. That Jackal re-range is a good one. But basically that's the difference. It's something that you want to keep in constant motion, a rip bait is, versus a jerk bait is something that you can sit there and suspend it in front of those fish. Arms are getting tired. Sibyl. Yeah, magic swimmer maybe? I don't know what you're talking about there, Heath. What line is best for swim jigs in the grass? A lot of times when I'm fishing a swim jig in the grass, you know, it's something that the fish is not going to have time to really look at. They're going to ambush. It's a reactionary bite. So what I'll typically use for that is I'm going to use, you know, some of that canine braid. I use a straight braid, 40 to 50 pound test, 45 pound test braid in a green color is typically what I like for swim bait or swim jig fishing, sorry. If the fish get really finicky on me and I'm around sparse grass, not really heavy grass, I'll go ahead and, you know, throw it on 15 pound test fluorocarbon. That's a good point. O'Keefe asked when we're, oh, Cole's on again. Okay, I just paid, Rebecca paid $2 for the trailer there. O'Keefe asked, when you're idling a ledge, do you go directly along the ledge or do you zigzag back and forth? And the answer to that is, a lot of times I run it at an angle. So if I want to really...
You ain't gonna believe this.
Oh my goodness, another big walleye, folks. Look at that. I know, we have 3 stud walleye in here now. Another 2.5 pound big old walleye. I mean, that's a stud. 3 pound walleye he's selling me. Jeez. But anyway, yeah, I like to run at an angle. So it's kind of like you parallel a bank, you run a 45-degree cast. That's the way I really like to run and go along the side there. I really enjoy that. I think that's one of the best ways to go ahead and graph across that ledge. And I'll go, you know, a lot of times if I really want to see those fish, I'll run shallow to deep and then deep to shallow across that ledge. It really depends. We'll get out here and do a more in-depth video so you can see kind of how the mapping looks, but it depends on the ledge you're fishing. But taking that angle seems to be the best way to actually see fish on there versus going directly off at 90s or going directly along the edge. More questions, folks. We're T-minus 1 minute for the live stream. What else we got? Probably the last question. Who gets the last question? When's the best time to fish stump fields? Well, heck fire. I love fishing stump fields all the time. Some of the best times though, shallow stump fields when the fish are spawning. You know, a lot of times they'll spawn up against those stumps. That can be a great time to fish them. When they're coming in pre-spawn, when they first push shallow, those stumps a lot of times will gather warm water to themselves. They'll pull in those adolescent bluegill. That's a great time to probably catch the biggest fish you're going to catch on the stump, that and the spawning time. But also the bluegill will spawn a lot of times on top of the stump or in the root balls, and the shad will spawn on them too. So there's a lot of different times you can catch fish on stumps. They pretty much stay there all summer long. But the main thing, like we always talk about, guys, is looking at where the fish are in their seasonal migration. So right now, a lot of the fish are kicked out. You know, there's not going to be as many fish on a lot of those stump flats. There's got to be something else holding them there. Josh, yes, I would recommend starting shallow in the mornings, do some topwater fishing, have some fun, fish fast, get out on the ledges when that sun gets up. That typically is the best time you're going to be on the ledges, and that's when we, on the Tennessee River, when they start to raise the current level as well, which makes it better. All right, guys, that is all the time we have for today. I'm going to leave you with this beautiful sunset, and I'm going to get back out here and catch some more fish. Y'all enjoy it. I hope this week